Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om Tare Tu Re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om Tare Tu Re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om Tare Tu Re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha.
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Casa Tara in Costa Rica. Wonderful to be with you this morning here, probably afternoon or evening for many of you. And just so we can connect with each other and get a sense of who's here and where you're from, can you put your first name and the country you're in or the city you're in, so you can also connect with each other? I can see that. Poland, I see. Yeah. So while those are coming in, let's generate Bodhicitta, the intention to be here today for the benefit of all beings, a heartfelt intention, touching in your heart and recognizing that it's really only through your own enlightenment that you can truly help others generate the intention to be together, to practice together for the benefit of all beings. And feel that web of connection with people all over the world who are with us today. That web of Bodhicitta. Thank you. So before I begin, I wanted to tell you that there will be a course beginning on March 5th, which could end in you being certified in this method that I'm teaching today, or simply begin to practice and study it more deeply than you will from me doing it today. And Dreame will kindly post the link to that, Feeding Your Demons Level 1. So that's an option that you will have. And it's also on our website and on my Facebook page and so on. So there's other opportunities coming up. We're doing a lot of free and accessible events this year, really feeling the need to serve the community better and more. So those links will be posted as well. And I'm going to begin our session today with some prayer requests. For these prayer requests, I'm not going to say what that person's praying for or what their illness is or anything, but I will say their location and their name, just to protect their privacy. So we have Olga Mulholland in Loveland, Colorado. And as I'm doing this, even though you don't know these people probably, listen to the name, think about that place, and send a blast of love and healing to them. That's what this is for. And, there's scientific studies that show that prayer does actually have an impact. Anne Clow in Charlottetown, Pennsylvania. Marie Chow, her mother. Sophia Olivia Ross in Portland, Oregon. Cheryl Solomon from New York City. Hania Jablowska in Poland. Dharma name is Pema Kandro. Lotus Dakini. Val Bona in Florida. Yeah. That's all the specific requests for people that we have. We did get some more general prayer requests, for example, that all beings who are practicing, that their practice comes to fruition and things like that. But we will not be reading that kind of thing. We really want this to be very specific and focused toward a specific person or a group of people. Okay. So today I'm going to lead you in the practice of feeding your demons. This is fairly rare. I don't actually remember the last time that I did this live online through Tara Mandala. So this is something that I've taught in many different situations, places, and some of you may have received it in various ways, different times, but this will be live for you right now. So I want to begin by explaining what I mean by demons. Demons are not sort of medieval gargoyles, and they're not the scary ghosts that we're afraid of in the hallway at night. They are the real issues of our life that take our energy away and prevent us from becoming free. So, for example, it could be an addiction to a substance. There's a lot of addiction in our world, not only to substances, but to things like pornography or other kinds of emotional issues, eating, and so on. So addiction is a possible demon. Depression is also a demon. Anxiety, this one. It could be a physical issue, a chronic physical condition, or a current acute pain that you have. Maybe you have headache or back pain, something like that you can work with as well. So when you think about what to work with, when you have to choose one, you might have them lining up right now. You're like, which one am I going to choose today? What I would suggest is you take the one that feels most up for you, most, I guess you could say, draining. If it's a relationship issue, and relationships definitely trigger our demons, then you don't work with the other person as the demon, even though you might think they are. It's your reaction to them. So let's say you are angry at your partner because you think they've been unfaithful to you or betrayed you in some way. You don't work with them as a demon. You work with that jealousy and that feeling of betrayal in you. Is that clear? Is that clear what I mean by how you work with a relationship issue? If you feel they're abandoning you or whatever's coming up around them, it's how you are experiencing it that you would work with. And that's true not only in romantic relationships, but let's say you're having trouble with a colleague or a friend. You're going to work with what comes up, the feeling that comes up in you when you think about that situation. So that's what a demon is. So as I'm speaking, I'd like you to think about what you want to work with today. And as I said, it's good to work with something that's actually up for you. If it's not sort of in an acute way up for you right now, you will be asked to remember a situation or a moment in time when it was really up for you. So that will be the demon that you work with. Then there's a couple of other distinctions I want to make before we start. One is the distinction between a want and a need. So you'll ask the demon 3 questions. The first question will be, what do you want? The second will be, what do you really need? And the third will be, how will you feel if you get what you really need? So a want is what is immediately presenting itself that demon is trying to get. So, for example, let's say you have a depression demon. What that depression demon might want is to immobilize you, to make you so you can't get out of bed, can't do anything, have no motivation. But the need is what's under that. What's that demon trying to accomplish with its want? And that might be, let's continue with that depression demon. What might be the need of a depression demon? It might be a need to feel safe and secure. So that's what's underneath the want. And then the third question is, how will you feel if that need is fulfilled, if you get what you really need? And that might be, let's say with depression, you might feel free, relaxed, something like that. You might feel open. You don't have to know now the answer to those questions because your demon will actually answer them for you during the process. So that's the 3 questions. Do you understand, I hope, the difference between a want and a need? An easy way to think about it is, what effect does the demon have on you? That's what it wants. Let's say with an addiction, it wants that substance, whatever it is. With anxiety, it wants you to be afraid. Fear of flying, it doesn't want you to fly. So that's a way to feel into those 2 questions. I just want to explain it so when we're in the process, you know what the difference is. The other thing I want to do before we start is to say that if your demon is something that causes you to dissociate from your body, which often demons connected to trauma do. And what I mean by dissociate, I mean you might not be able to feel your body anymore. You might feel just really spacey and disconnected. That's called dissociation. If your demon causes that, when it comes time to dissolve your body into nectar that you'll feed the demon, don't dissolve your body. Keep it there. And you will magically produce the nectar from your body, but you won't dissolve it. And that's also how you do feeding your demons with children. Everyone else will do it in the normal way, and I'm going to guide it in the normal way. So this will be up to you to do it that way when we come to that point. So then you might be wondering, like, should I do a big demon today or stick to something small? I encourage you to do something that really feels substantive to you, that's loaded for you, but not something that you're afraid of to the point where you're afraid you might get triggered. Let's say you have a trauma and you're afraid you might get triggered by doing this. Then I would take something a little more gentle, But I have had the situation over the years of doing this with some pretty big things for people, and they're fine in it. There may be a moment when you first begin, when you see it in front of you, that you're like, oh my God, I'm scared of that. But in a minute, you're going to be that thing that you're scared of. So stick with the process and you'll be fine. I've never had anyone have a bad experience with feeding your demons. It's always helpful. And I've been doing this a long time. So you can feel confident in that. So those are a few things before we begin the process. And I'd like to explain a little bit the history of feeding your demons also before we start. So this is a practice that I developed as a way to make the teachings of an 11th century Tibetan yogini accessible and useful in our modern world. So I originally was teaching this practice that she taught, which is done in Tibetan with a drum and a bell and sing it. I was teaching that in the West, and I realized this is really foreign to people. And maybe they aren't going to have a real felt experience of what this is really about. And it just becomes almost like a foreign outfit that you're putting on. Oh, I sing in Tibetan and I have a Tibetan bell and a drum and, sort of superficial. So I developed this method while I was teaching. It was like a teaching tool, really, to make it real. And it was also making it real for me, because when I first began this practice, I actually learned the practice of Chöd for the first time in 1973. And when I learned it the first time, I was dealing or thinking about these demons more like Buddhist concepts. And then I realized this isn't really about Buddhist concepts. These are the real things in my life. And so that's also how feeding your demons developed, is like, make it individual, make it an individual's experience. And so this developed probably more than 20 years ago now. Early 80s, I began teaching feeding your demons in this way. And then the book was published in 2008. Now there's been 2 scientific studies done on this method, one connected to fear of COVID that people have experienced, just the fear that we've had, and another one on addiction, anxiety, and depression. And the findings of these studies have been really pretty exciting and pretty positive. And that's about to be published in a scientific journal, that study with addiction and anxiety and depression. And the COVID study is still being finished. And so this is proved to work. So I'm excited for you to learn it. And once you learn it, you got it. We can put a link to this process that you can download from our website if you want to do it again yourself afterwards. And there is this training program and the possibility for therapists or counselors to be certified in the method that I talked about in the beginning. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready to feed a demon? So for setting up, if you're sitting on the ground, you could put a pillow in front of you to change places when the time comes. If you're sitting in a chair, just be in a position where you can stand up and face where you're sitting now, because you'll be doing that. You won't be very long in that other seat, so just standing up will be comfortable. So set yourself up if you're not set up, and then we'll begin. So I'd like to invite you first just to take a moment and think about what you want to work with today. Maybe you've already decided, but let's have a moment of silence to feel into what you want to work with today. And remember, if it's something that's coming up within a relationship, you're going to work with feeling in you connected to that. If it's a worry or concern about someone else, perhaps someone who's ill, again, you'll work with what's coming up with you around their illness. Okay. So now we'll begin. And we'll do this with our eyes closed pretty much the whole time. If you need to open them a little bit to change seats, that's fine. But try to keep them closed. It'll keep you in the process more. Okay. So let's close our eyes now. And I'll have my eyes closed as well. And settle into wherever you're sitting. Notice the sensations under you. And now we'll do some relaxation breathing before we begin the actual 5 steps. Notice any physical tension that you're holding in your body. Breathe into that physical tension, locating where it is in your body, and release it with the out-breath. Any physical tension, feel where it is in your body, breathe into it. Imagine that the breath hooks that tension and it rides out on the out-breath. And now notice any emotional tension that you're holding. Feel where you're holding emotional tension in your body. And breathe into it. Emotional tension. Where do you feel it in your body? Breathe into it and let it go with the out-breath. And now notice any mental tension that you're holding, any worries, concerns, any mental tension. Notice where you're holding mental tension in your body. Breathe into it. Imagine the breath hooks it and it rides out on the out-breath. And now we'll generate our motivation to do the practice, 5 steps of feeding your demons for the benefit of all beings. Generate your motivation, your intention. And now we'll begin. Thinking about the demon that you decided to work on today, perhaps an incident when it came up strongly, or perhaps it's up for you right now. Thinking about it, feeling into it. Feel where in your body do you hold this most strongly when you think about this demon? Where do you feel it most strongly in your body? Bring your attention to that place in your body. Now imagine if this had a color. This place in your body, imagine if it had a color. What color would it be? And if it were to take a shape in your body, what shape would it take? And what is its texture or consistency like? What kind of consistency does it have? And what is its temperature? What temperature does it have? And now bring your full attention to this place in your body with its color, shape, its consistency, texture, and its temperature. Intensify it. Intensify that feeling in your body. And now imagine that that shape, with its color, its texture, its temperature, moves out of your body. And if it's helpful, you can make a gesture of moving it out of your body, taking it out. And it is personified as a being in front of you. that color, that shape, that texture becomes a living being, a being with arms and legs, with a face, and so on. And notice what you see. Notice what size it is. What size does it take? What is its color? What is the density of its body? What is the surface of its body like? What is the surface of its body? And does it have a gender? It may or may not have a gender. Notice if it does have a gender, what gender is it? Notice the look in its eyes. What is the look in its eyes? When you look into its eyes, what do you see there? What is its current emotional state? What kind of emotional state is it in right now? And what is its personality or character like? Kind of personality does it have? In general, what's its character like? And now notice something about it that you didn't notice at first, something you didn't see before. Notice now, oh, that's something I didn't see before. And now we're going to ask it 3 questions. I'll give them one at a time, and then you can, if you're at home, you can answer or ask them out loud. If you're with others, you can ask them silently. I'll give you them one at a time. You ask them, and then once you've asked the 3 questions, you will get up, change places, and face where you're sitting now. First question is, what do you want? What do you want? What do you really need? How will you feel if you get what you really need? How will you feel if you get what you really need? And now, keeping your eyes closed as much as possible, change places and become the demon. Stand up and change places and become the demon. Face where you were sitting. So you're facing your original body. And you're in the body of the demon now. Take a moment and come into that body. What does it feel like? To be that demon, that size, that gender if it had one, that color, that density, in that emotional state, that kind of personality. And from the point of view of the demon, now look at your normal self. How does your normal self look from the demon's point of view? You're in the body of the demon, looking back at your normal self. And now really being in the body of the demon, seeing your normal self in front of you, will answer those questions. I'll give you the beginning of each answer. You repeat that and then answer the question. Really staying in the body of the demon as you do this. Really take a moment to feel, what is it like to be in that body? What I want is what I really need is if I get what I really need, I will feel. If I get what I really need, I will feel. So this is a feeling. Take note of that answer to that third question. get what I really need, I will feel and come back into your original seat. Take a moment to come back into your own body. Keeping your eyes closed as much as possible. And see the demon in front of you again. And nod your head when you feel like you're back. So I know. Back in your own body. Now, imagine that your own body is dissolving, actually melting, dissolving, and it's dissolving into a nectar. Notice the color of that nectar. As it dissolves, it becomes a nectar. And that nectar has the quality of how the demon will feel if it gets what it really needs. That feeling. Your body dissolves into a liquid nectar. Notice its color and its quality is the feeling that the demon will have if it gets what it really wants. And now that nectar flows toward the demon and begins to nurture it, to feed it. It may drink it, it may absorb it through its skin or through the top of its head. Just notice how your particular demon takes this in. There's an infinite quantity of nectar, and the demon's able to take it in. It's being fed by it. Feed it to complete satisfaction. And as you're feeding it, notice what happens to it. You're feeding this liquid nectar that has the quality the demon will feel when it gets what it needs. And you're feeding it to complete satisfaction. Keep feeding it, noticing what happens to it as you feed it. Complete satisfaction. And now the demon is becoming completely satisfied. Notice how it looks when it's completely satisfied. And now the demon is completely satisfied. And if it's not, imagine how it would look if it was. If there's a being that remains there once it's completely satisfied, ask that being, are you my ally? Are you the ally? It may be and it may not be. So just take a moment and ask it, are you my ally? If it wasn't, or if your demon disappeared completely in one way or another, then invite the ally to appear. Invite the ally to appear. Notice the size of the ally, either the one that remained when the demon was completely satisfied or the one that appeared. Notice its size. How big is it? Does it have a gender? What's the density of the ally's body? What's the surface of its skin like, or the covering of its body? What's that like? What's the look in the ally's eyes like? When you look into the ally's eyes, what do you see? What's the emotional state of the ally? What kind of emotional state is it in? What's its personality like? Its character? And now, seeing the ally in front of you, Notice something about it that you didn't see before. Something you didn't see before. And now we're going to ask the ally 4 questions. I'll give them to you one at a time. Ask them, and then you'll change places and become the ally. The first question is, how will you help me? How will you help me? How will you protect me? What is your pledge to me? How can I access you? And now, keeping your eyes closed as much as possible, change places, face where you're sitting now. And take a moment and become the ally. Feel what it's like to be that size, that color, that gender, that density. Have that kind of surface of your skin, your body. To be in that emotional state with the ally. Really take a moment to feel that. Feel you're in the ally's body now. And you're looking back at your normal self. And notice what your normal self looks like from the ally's point of view. And now we'll answer those questions one at a time. I'll give you the beginning of each answer. Repeat that and then finish it. Staying in the body of the ally. And you're talking to your normal self. I will help you by I will protect you by will protect you by my pledge to you is you can access me by And now, keeping your eyes closed as much as possible, come back and sit in your original position. Take a moment to come back into your body. See the ally in front of you again. Feel its presence. And particularly notice its eyes and how through its eyes it's transmitting to you. You feel its presence. And feel the presence of the ally in your whole body, as though it's transmitting its energy into your body. And notice how that feels, particularly from its eyes. And now imagine that the ally dissolves into light. Ally dissolves into light. Notice the color of the ally's light once it dissolves. Notice that color that's there. And then imagine that that luminosity, that color, dissolves into your body, comes into your body. You're absorbing it, and it is washing all the cells in your body from head to toe. That color, that luminosity of the ally is present, cleansing and illuminating your whole body. Notice how that feels. Your whole body is permeated by the energy of the ally. You can really feel that. You can feel that difference. And now your own body, with the energy of the ally integrated into it, also dissolves. Your body dissolves with the energy of the ally, dissolves completely, and rest in what's ever present after the dissolution. Just rest. Just rest. And then come back into your body with the feeling of the ally in your body, and notice how that feels in a way that you can recall it later. How does it feel to have the luminous energy of the ally in your body? Notice that. in a way that you'll be able to recall it later. And then gradually open your eyes. And as you open your eyes, keep the feeling of the ally in your body so you don't lose it as soon as you open your eyes. Notice that feeling. And look around at your surroundings, wherever you are. And as you do, keep the feeling of the ally in your body. And then we'll offer any benefit from this practice to all beings. And imagine that benefit goes to any areas or people or animals that need it. Thank you, everyone. So we did this practice of feeding your demons just now. I hope this was helpful to you. It's so nice to be with you. This is my second Lama Live, and it will be a weekly event here on Facebook or YouTube, and it will also remain there. So if you have friends that you would like to be able to see it, you can tell them about it, send them the link, and it will live there. So you can come back to it. I'm seeing all the thank yous coming in. Thank you for thanking me. It's such a pleasure to share this practice because I really think it helps people in a very practical way. And we know that now from the study scientifically, it benefits people. And I'm happy for you that you received it. If you are a therapist or a counselor or somebody like that, I want to get certified in it. That's what I request, that you don't just do it once like this on the internet with me and then start using it for clients. You actually get trained in it because there's lots of different things that can come up and specifics that it's helpful to have training. And I'll be back with you next week, same time, same place. And have a wonderful week. And we love hearing from you, what you're saying. You're all really welcome. And yes, think about following us on Facebook. I just saw somebody write that. And also our email list, Tara Mandala. You'll be updated about other events and retreats and so on. And thank you for Donna. If you want to offer that, that's not required. It's gratefully received if you want to do that. And somebody just wrote, muchas gracias, Spanish. I don't know if you're just saying that because I'm in Costa Rica, or if you're in Spain or some Spanish-speaking country. In any case, lots of love to you, and spread love this week. Offer that to beings. You can put beings on the prayer list that I'll read in the beginning, and also questions. I do have quite a few questions now already from before, And this took up our whole hour. So I won't be answering questions this time, but I'll continue. Next time, I'll choose the questions that I feel are most relevant to most people. And I look forward to doing that. And I'm not sure what we'll do next week. Usually I kind of get a feeling during the week what to do. And so we'll see what bubbles up. Light and peace to you all. Lots of love. Thank you.
Om Tare Tu Re Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha Om Tare Tu Re Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha Om Tare Tu Re Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha Om Tare Tu Re